Anime, anime TV, cha! Hello and welcome to Anime TV. I'm your host, Pilot069, and today I'll be reviewing Darling in the Franxx. Set in a futuristic world where humanity now lives inside giant mining plantations, Darling in the Franxx follows a small group of children who are being kept away from the rest of society. Raised in isolation, these children live for one reason and one reason only: to pilot giant robots into battle against humanity's number one enemy, the Klaxosaur. Hero is one of these children, or at least he was. No longer having a partner, Hero is unable to pilot, making him useless to the group and the whole of society. Enter Zero Two, a half-human, half-Klaxosaur pilot who has killed every single partner she has ever piloted with. Is Zero Two the partner that Hero has been looking for? Or is he just next in line to join the pile of body bags left in her wake? Now, I'm not particularly interested in giant robots, but bizarrely I do watch quite a lot of mecha shows. And that's because mecha is a genre that for some reason seems to conjure up a lot of elite shows. First there was Evangelion in the late 90s, then 10 years later there was Gurren Lagann, and now there's Darling in the Franxx. Darling in the Franxx is pretty much the love child of Gurren Lagann and Evangelion. In fact, barely a scene goes by where their influence doesn't shine through. But having such great mentors isn't a bad thing. In fact, it's through their tutelage that Darling in the Franxx manages to successfully tick off all of the most important criteria in creating a successful mecha show. Because as we know, all mecha shows need religious symbolism, mystery and intrigue, a suspicious council of adults, pretentious names for absolutely everything, a cast loaded with psychological problems, and of course, lots of hidden meanings and metaphors. Darling in the Franxx is a show full of hidden meanings and metaphors. In fact, if you analysed it thoroughly, I'm sure you'd find a bottomless pit of metaphors. However, my favourite of these hidden meanings is far less subtle. In fact, it's barely even hidden at all, and that's the act of linking in the cockpit. The mecha in Darling in the Franxx can only be piloted by a boy-girl partnership, where the pair link together. Any imbalance and the whole thing goes to shit. This basically plays out as a metaphor for sex, or quite often a failure in sexual performance. And because of this, you quite often get lines like, "It's my fault, not yours. We can try again, if you like. Do I need to try something different?" Or, on one occasion, "It worked with that other girl, so why can't you get it to work with me?" As funny as the dialogue can be, I would imagine quite a lot of female viewers were offended by how the mecha operates in this show, and rightfully so. It's pretty degrading. Basically, in Darling in the Franxx, the female pilot bends over on all fours, and her male counterpart takes his position directly behind her. Now, I probably haven't done this justice, so check out this clip. なんであいつがリーダーなのよ。ではコネクト開始。変な声出すな。信頼して受け入れることが大事だ。平気か？大丈夫。そのまま続けて。Like the best mecha shows, Darling in the Franxx ignores the robot battles and instead concentrates on its characters. The show is basically a journey of self-discovery, with the story covering standard topics like romance and heartbreak. But at the same time, it takes on more difficult subject matter like homosexuality, eating disorders, maternal instincts, and accepting the person you are. And that's a bravery that I think needs applauding. Of the cast, there are two standout stars. Ichigo, the girl next door character who you can't help but love, and Zero Two, the confident, sexually aggressive girl who struggles to accept her birthright. Of these two, Zero Two seems to have really struck a chord with the anime community, becoming a fan favourite and popular waifu overnight. Zero Two body pillow? Very nice. Add to basket. If I had one complaint about Darling in the Franxx, it would be its similarity to Evangelion. And when I say similarity, I mean full-blown plagiarism. On top of everything that I've already mentioned, you also have the underground city, the control center, the linking process, even the monsters move exactly the same way. Francesca may argue that Darling in the Franxx has perfected the Evangelion formula and surpassed the show in every single way. And, well, she may be right, but for me, that's just not enough. Originality is important. You can only experience the sensation of having your mind blown by a fresh, brand new idea just once. Every time after that, it's just a cheap imitation. So for that reason, Darling in the Franxx loses points with me. My only other gripe with this show is the animation. Now don't get me wrong, the animation in this show is absolutely fantastic. However, the mecha designs are absolutely terrible. They look less like robots and more like giant Digimon, and that kind of ruins the seriousness of the battles for me. I think my recommendations here are pretty obvious. If you like the psychological side of Darling in the Franxx, then check out Neon Genesis Evangelion. However, if you like the over-the-top craziness, then I would probably recommend Gurren Lagann. Darling in the Franxx might not be particularly original, but the story is epic. The show itself might only consist of 24 episodes, but by its end, you will feel like you've gone on a proper journey with its characters. So for that reason, I will be scoring Darling in the Franxx a massive 86%. Anyway, that's the end of my video. Thanks for watching. And until next time, I highly recommend checking out Darling in the Franxx.